Hello and happy Halloween. The Pacers in action on Halloween, and their performance was appropriately scary. Well, welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner, and today we're getting into it. Pacers 128-108 loss to Atlanta last night. So the Pacers started a new starting five for the fifth straight game. They have not had the same starting lineup for any of their five so far. And I believe Kristen Airy said this during the TV broadcast last night. I'm sorry, against Dallas. The Pacers have already played more five men on the court combinations than they did all of last season. So that just really illustrates the injury issues that they're facing. Those are getting even worse. They found out that Obi Toppin will be out through February, or until February at least. But tonight they did start strong. They led 20-8 in the first quarter. Looked like they were going to take advantage of the Trae Young-less Hawks. But from that point on, it was all Atlanta. They carried a 63-59 lead into halftime, and then they were up by 13, 72-59 before the Pacers scored any points in the second half. They came out with a big run, and they carried that all the way to 97-76 at the end of three. And Rick waved the white flag pretty early in this one. We didn't see a lot of the bigger names in the fourth quarter. Clearly, he's preparing for Saturday night. Pacers take on the Warriors in the second night of a back-to-back. And so I guess the one advantage is that we didn't see any new injuries, and we didn't see them expend too much effort for the back-to-back. As far as noteworthy performances, I usually like to give you a few, but really the only notable performances were from Atlanta, and that's not why you're watching this channel. So I thought the Pacers looked pretty flat across the board. Siakam had a nice first half. He had 17 points, but he only added one in the third quarter. Now, he does need some help. Okay, he's seeing a lot of double teams, especially after halftime, and so he can only do so much, right? So he needs support to take some of the defensive attention away from him. Jarace Walker had another okay night. He was 17 points. He was a little more efficient, though, than he was in Dallas. So his second start in a row, he looked okay, but really just okay. So then to break down the game, really to this point, in their first four losses, I thought, well, they're close, except for Memphis, and that one, was justifiable. I thought they still looked like a good team. It was competitive and was trying hard, was playing. But the second half of this game is the first time I thought, wow, this looks like a bad team. There were few bad turnovers. Defense was very poor tonight, probably the worst it's been all season. And the worst thing of all was just their shooting. They shot 35.4% from the field, and you're just not going to win a lot of basketball games. They missed a lot of layups and open threes. So it wasn't like they were just hoisting up bad shots. They just weren't making them, and I think we're really seeing the injury situation come back there, right? We have two-way guys starting and playing meaningful rotation level minutes. Mac McClung is a career G leaguer. He's been thrust into the rotation. I just don't think that they're talented enough right now. And then that bled into the effort, and they looked like a bad team, right? We knew that they were undermanned, and they have been all season. And really, in some ways, they will be all season because this team's only whole when Tyrese is playing. But the effort for the first time looked poor in the second half, which was disappointing to see. Some of my keys to the game ahead of the game were for them to score in transition. They weren't able to do that. They only had 8 fast break points. They are struggling to generate pace. Then crashed the offensive glass. They actually did this one. They won the offensive rebounding battle 18-12, and that's important. That's been a key for me the last couple games because when you're shooting poorly, you need extra possessions. You need to get extra shots. And so they did manage to get 6 extra chances, but when you only shoot 35.4%, you get a lot of chances to offensive rebound, and when you get those, you're not doing a lot with them. And so those 6 extra possessions from the rebounds really came up to not much for them. Um, and my third key was to avoid bad fouls. So they entered the game leading in free throws attempted against by several per game, I think by 4 per game. There are 39 free throws attempted against them. Now, obviously, we're early in the season. Game 1 was a pretty significant outlier. But fouling has been a problem in the other games as well. They've still been in the 30s in free throws attempted against and getting into foul trouble, especially Isaiah Jackson. They were able, technically, to solve that issue tonight. Atlanta only shot 20 free throws, but they had 74 points in the paint. They were just having free reign to the rim at times, and they were scoring in transition as well, off of turnovers, off of long misses from the Pacers. And so the Pacers technically solved their fouling issue, but their solution seemed to be to avoid defending hard in the paint. And that is not a recipe for success. So they need to find a way, and they need to find a way quickly, to defend the paint without fouling. And that's the challenge any NBA team faces. I think for this team, it needs to start on the perimeter. They need to prevent teams from getting into the lane because Isaiah Jackson continues to prove that he is struggling in his comeback efforts from this injury. He doesn't look comfortable out there to me, and he has been culprit number 1 of the bad fouling problem. And then Jay Huff, his block numbers look good, but as you watch him in the flow of the game, I think his defense is often poor. I think he's often out of position. And for him, it looks to me like a conditioning issue. Maybe it's an effort issue, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's just not up to playing at Pacer pace. He made a few comments about the adjustment in the offseason, and it seems like we're seeing that on the court. That he just seems a little slow. He seems a little out of position at times, and like he's maybe not able to get to the places he needs to get. And then that's affecting his shooting on the other end as well. A lot of shots came up short last night. So they need to find a solution to that problem quickly because, like I said, up next, the Pacers homestand continues. They take on the Warriors in the second night of this back-to-back. So Saturday night, Golden State is in town. They're looking pretty strong in this new season. They sit at 4-2. They're coming off a loss to Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, 120-110. And Steph just continues to produce. He continues to be the leader of this team. He's averaging 27 points per game so far in this, his 16th season. It seems crazy to say Steph Curry's 16th season. But thank you for watching today's episode. I'll be back breaking down Pacers Warriors. I'll see you next time.